started, all these knifings and stuff did start in Australia, and there's this weird Taylor Swift element to it.
As I said this morning, we intervened very successfully and prevented a tragedy.
We had an artist in the city who was extraordinary, and the decision was the right one.
Of course, it's a huge shame, but I'm actually quite distraught because I can't imagine what would have happened if it hadn't been cancelled.
I don't know if people remember, but I showed that the NRL was over at the Super Bowl at the exact same time that Taylor Swift was there, and this huge media build-up for months around Taylor Swift and this guy Travis Kelce that she's with. And then straight after the Super Bowl, bang, straight down to Australia, and they interviewed Travis Kelce, and he did a reference to Apollo in this interview. Completely weird, right? And we know about like the first seal of the apocalypse and Apollo that ended April 8th for this year on the eclipse. But he speaks about Taylor coming down to Australia and references Apollo, and at the same time the NRL had ran Project Apollo at the same time there.
Travis traveled down under, and we got to talk about it.
Bingo, baby.
Trav, what the hell is your life?
Dude, I have no idea.
Yeah.
A lot of false media being tossed out there, but I'll tell you what wasn't false, and it was when I landed in Australia and seeing all the cameras and...
Yeah, you're like the Beatles. You're like Yoko Ono.
I'm like the Beatles. Yoko Ono. Was that Speed Skater?
Thinking of Apollo Antonono?
Yeah.
Oh my God, that's hilarious. Yoko Ono. No. I don't even know the full story of Yoko Ono. I know that she was with John Lennon, and that's about the extent that I know.
You see what's come to life here over the last couple of days, and obviously there's been so much work gone into it. What are your thoughts?
All I can think of is Project Apollo.
At the same time there, and this is why I was looking, it was like a baton shift, which is, you know, again is tied to the 4-year Olympiad, the baton shift. That's why they have the torch relay, because it's like passing this eternal flame on. And what happened was they brought that down there, and when Taylor Swift came down to Australia, there was an equivalent to what was referred to in the Beatlemania that came through into America, and this scream that was coming out of the girls as part of a Tavistock operation, that it was a primal scream. And the reason that they did that was the JFK assassination happened in 1963 of November, and then literally Beatlemania started straight away. And what it was this, you know, because energy is never created or dies, it just moves. So what happened was that mass trauma of the population that had been psychologically abused through the JFK assassination then allowed that energy to to come out of these girls screaming. Also, they were trained to scream at the start, and it was a distraction away from the JFK assassination, and then led into Beatlemania. The Summer of Love kind of shit that happened in 1965. In which they turned to acid, right? So it was a full-on military intelligence operation. It looks exactly the same here. Not only is in the interview, they're referring to Travis Kelce as Yoko Ono, right? Yoko Ono, who again was another asset of military intelligence, and they're referring to him as that, right? But what it was the same. The behaviour by these girls at the Taylor Swift concert was exactly the same as the primal scream coming out of the girls from Beatlemania. And what it was, for me, it looked like the trauma that was being released from the 4-year COVID period, the 4 years of the first seal, and this emotional traumatization that's happened to the population. And now we enter a new stage of the game now, right? That they were allowed to release that energy. So what I think, and then from there we go on to the incident that sparked these race riots in America, in the UK. What has sparked it was an incident in which 3 girls were stabbed by a 17-year-old Muslim boy, kills 3 girls on Hart Street at the Hart Centre. So both 2 references from the Hart.
I didn't warn ya. Boys only want love if
it's torture.
I'm just editing this video and I can't fucking believe it, but I've just found that there's this online trend of these girls that stab the heart and then this blood comes out, right? And it's all based on a Taylor Swift song in which she does it in her music video where she stabs the heart. And it's like so fucking good that Taylor representing the heart and care and the destruction of care to stab the heart. And they've done all these rituals around Taylor Swift and use this heart reference. Fuck, it's crazy. I can't believe just before I was about to post this. But this says a lot of how they're using Taylor Swift in this ritual and how long ago these planned stabbings were, as much as part of the blueprint. But check out these videos, it's insane.
Don't say I didn't warn ya. So it's gonna be for love if it's torture. Don't say I didn't warn ya. So it's gonna be forever. Warn ya. So it's gonna be forever. Or it's gonna go down in flames. You can tell me when it's over.
And I think what Annette was saying in her thing too is about like the tomb being a place of the heart. I'm not sure if she said that, don't quote me. But interesting, the first thing that came to mind for me was that Jesus in the tomb, when Jesus dies, he's visited. Now it's different in, I checked this up today, within different Gospels, and I think John doesn't actually say directly how many, but within Christian art and stuff, you will see, and I think it definitely within Luke, it names the 3 women that come to visit Jesus at the tomb to see the opening of the resurrection, how it happens. That these 3 women go to care for him. And I think it was the mother, I think it was Mary Magdalene, and then it was another Mary, which might have been the Mary, the mother of John, I think. I'm not sure. Anyway, 3 women. So we have another incident here where there's 3 girls killed, all referencing the heart. Yeah, and I think Annette said, yeah, Mary Magdalene represents the heart too. And you got the 3 Marys in there. But anyway, that weird, crazy coding within this stabbing. This is what kicks it all off. After all things, right, this is how easily people can be mind controlled, manipulated. And I don't know the layers or the levels to the symbology of this story, but I can tell just within what I can see and decode that it was mass laid, right? And a huge emotional trigger for people. And I don't think that the riots could have happened with any other incident. It had to be this. It was Hart Lane at the Heart Centre, 3 girls killed. So, you've got all those emotional things being pulled on, and it's a migrant, right? So you told the one that who's to blame for that at the same time. But then that night, so I put a lot of Andrew Tate clips in here at the start. Then that night, Andrew Tate goes on. I can't find the video. If I can, I'll put it in here. He goes.
So an undocumented migrant decided to go into a Taylor Swift dance class today and stab 6 little girls. That's right. Somebody arrived in the UK on a boat. Nobody knew who he was. Nobody knows where he's from. The media is, of course, hiding the fact that this is a 17-year-old male. They don't want to highlight how ridiculous it is that we allow military-aged males, combatants, to flood our shores. I don't see any protests in the UK. I don't see anybody complaining. Nobody's outside of the school. Nobody's outside the police station. The soul of the Western man is so broken that when the invaders slaughter your daughters, you do absolutely fucking